Bob, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna start out with easy things, Brady. What Rotary Club are you a member of? If you've been a member of several, which ones? And how long total have you been a Rotarian?
I am a member of the Rotary Lookout Rotary Club in Moorhead, and I've been a member about 20 years, and yeah.
I was reading over some history. I've got little snippets of history that I got from John Capp's records and some records that have fallen into my hands. I'm trying to read them all. And I saw a Brady Way in the Beaufort Club as one of the charter members. Was that a relative of yours?
I have no idea.
Really?
I know of nobody in my family who has been a member of the Beaufort Rotary Club.
That's very interesting. There was a Brady Way charter.
There is not another Brady Way in Carteret County.
Very interesting. I totally blown away by that because I thought here I had a legacy person, and I find out that I didn't. 20 years is a long time to be in Rotary. Can you detail a project to me that was super close to your heart and that will stay with you forever?
Well, the two projects that I've been involved with our club were the international grants that we had with two individual Berlin Rotary clubs. These involve the refugee crisis that was happening in Germany in 2015-16 time frame.
And tell me how an international project works.
International project, you have a host club and a international club, and I made contact with a physician in Germany who belonged to a Rotary Club there in Berlin, Berlin Tiergarten Club, and they were the host club, and our club, the Moorhead City Lookout Club, was the international club.
International projects are certainly much more ambitious than anything that's done, usually locally. Can you tell me how an international project is funded?
International project is funded by the local clubs and districts that are involved, and it is a match with Rotary International, a one-in-one match. Both of these grants that we're involved with, we ended up about $150,000 to the Rotary clubs and the project in Berlin.
So a great deal of this funding came right here from Carteret County, from your club and others?
Yes, it came from our club, and if I believe all the other clubs in the county actually contributed somewhat. This was truly an international grant with districts from North Carolina, Puerto Rico, of course, Berlin, Germany, and South Carolina involved in it, as well as individual clubs, which were not only from Berlin and North Carolina, but also from France and Austria. So it was a truly international project.
Can you briefly detail what that project resulted in? What was the net result of what you were able to accomplish in Berlin?
As briefly as I can, this project started out basically with two ideas. One was mine, which was how do we help these refugees that are now flooding into Europe and into Germany? And I actually had no idea how to do this to start with. And the other part was Dr. Pia Scarabas-Kurfield in Berlin. She and her husband took some clothing and medicine down to a refugee camp, and they started a makeshift clinic to try to help some of these people. I contacted a friend of mine who was in Berlin and asked him if there was any Rotary clubs that were supporting the refugee project. He said he didn't know, but he did see on TV that a Rotary club was doing some projects to help the refugees. He put me in, therefore I got in contact with Dr. Scarabas-Kurfield, and we made the association, and our club combined or matched with her club to form the grant.
So can you briefly describe the clinic that was set up?
Okay. Initially, the excuse me. Initially, the clinic, which was Medicine Helfer, was done by the physicians and personnel taking the medicines and to the individual refugee camps. And as a result of the Rotary grant, which was able to help them find a central location where the refugees could get to the clinic. Shirley and I had the opportunity to go visit in Berlin before the grant was actually done, and see how they were going to the various refugee camps and how they were treating the patients. And we've also been over there afterwards and seen the facility, which now is quite nice and functioning well.
That's excellent. We have a great history of working internationally and in the community. What is there a project locally that has been close to your heart?
Well, I mean, there are plenty, but there are other people who need to talk about the local grants. We've had a number of grants.
If you were speaking, this is an opportunity to speak to people who will be watching this in the future. It can be young people, it can be older people, it can be children who are going to see this. What would you say to those people who are watching this in the future? This is a legacy we're handing to the future about Rotary. What would you want to tell them about Rotary?
Well, if you have an idea, follow your idea. And Rotary is there to help you. I had plenty of help locally and as well as internationally in getting this international project up, running, and without the help of Rotary, it wouldn't have existed, obviously. But if you have something that's on your heart, pursue it. Don't just put it in a closet. Go out and try to do something about it, whether it's local or whether it's international.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Is there anything that I have not asked about that you would like to share on the video?
Well, again, going back to the project, I have to give so much credit to Dr. Pia Scarabas-Kurfield. As a result of this project, it was presented at the Rotary International Convention in Atlanta as a breakout session, and then 2 years later in Hamburg, it was presented, and she was one of the keynote speakers. and she has subsequently received the Rotary International Self Before Service Award, and she has also received one of the highest German civilian awards as a result of her work for the refugees. And without Rotary and the grant, this project probably would not have gotten off the ground, or at least not very far.
The refugees that you were dealing with, were they Syrian refugees? I'm trying to,
Yes.
for the people who are listening to this, who might not, the history might, at the time they see this, they have no idea what was going on in 2015.
These were most often the Syrian refugees, although there were others too that were involved. I think they had some from Africa also, but it was mainly Syrian refugees at that time. And when they came to Germany, they could not just go into society. They had to meet certain requirements, and one of them was health care. And they could not get health care through the German system without being qualified. And this didn't happen automatically. And this is where the camps came into being, was to help these individuals who basically were not having availability of health care through the German system.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've learned more about it. I know you and I have talked about it in the past, but and I did a presentation of it 2 years ago at the foundation banquet on your behalf, thanks to your information, but you filled in more. So thank you so much for sharing it, and thank you so much for being an example and